your vegetables real fine, retaining all the flavors and all the juices. Breadcrumbs for when you're serving veal cutlets or anything like that. You want a little breadcrumbs to fry your fish in? Why, there's the greatest proposition in the world. Use that for coconut, cheese, or horseradish. When you're through with it, just heat it down like that. That knocks all the food out. Rinse it out in a little water and hang it up and let it dry. Now here is a stone made of carborundum and sapphire quartz, which is made purposely to keep these knives sharp. When they get dull, a few strokes over the edge like this, and you can put a keen cutting edge on it. If you have a dull knife or a dull pair of scissors, an old sickle or a scythe, a lawnmower, cleaver, an axe, there's a tool that will really put an edge on the knife so the knife will really cut for you. I just want to give you an idea of how sharp that knife really is when you sharpen it with that stone. Ladies, I've seen some of you try to open up cans. Now, there's a can of Campbell's baked beans. I've seen ladies open up a can and you poke a hole in it, go around the top, hippity-hop, and your finger slips. Let me show you a real proposition. Look, lay it on the can. Lift up the safety and turn the key. That locks itself on the can. No harder than you were winding up your watch. Wind up the key and that'll cut the top off of the can slick and smooth. Notice how the end raises itself up in the air so you can lift the lid off, giving you a clean, smooth edge. Now that can be used for sardine cans, square cans or round cans, exactly the same way. Now this tool here, my dear friends, needs no introduction. This will save you on an average of $20 to $30 every year you use it as a peeling knife. Here's a grater for cheese, coconut, or horseradish, a fish scaler for scaling your fish, and when you're coring your apple, it's just a slight twist of the wrist, and there's the apple core. There's one more tool that I want you to see, and I want you to watch this one very closely. Many a times when you're baking a pie, you have a pudding in the oven. I've seen ladies wrap a towel around your hand, and many a times you burn your fingers. Hook this onto the pot like this and lift the hot pots off the top of the stove. You've got a pie pan in the oven, catch a hold of the pie pan like this. Why, you couldn't get it off with a team of horses. This will positively lift 100 pounds. There's a pail of water weighs 50 or 60 pounds. That's the way you pick it up. But there's one more tool. I'll be all through and I'll be finished. Oh, now the next tool and the last one is what they call the Sarah Bernhardt cutter. This was invented by the head chef of the Imperial Hotel in the city of Berlin, Germany. You place the screw into the center of the vegetable. Twist the vegetable until the threads catch a hold, then you wind this up. You keep winding until you utilize the whole potato. The faster you turn, the quicker the slices. Why, ladies, here's a machine for slicing onions. The first onion that you slice with this cutter, you'll bless the day you've got a hold of it. Every slice cut exactly the same thickness. Every slice cut the same size. In making what they call a rosette, pull the vegetable out like this. Pin the ends together with a toothpick. Drop that potato into the hot fat and fry it. That will come out like a donut, golden brown. If you're serving a nice fish dinner, a little parsley goes in the center with the fish all around it, makes a very appetizing dish. Did you ever try to slice onions with a knife? You know how you get one thick slice and one thin slice? Run the knife through the center. That will separate each slice individual. Almost like magic, there is every slice cut exactly the same thickness and the same size. Wouldn't you like to have a set like this in your kitchen? Why, of course you would. Now don't forget, attend this theater every week and receive this 12-piece fascinating Ladies and gentlemen, the management of this theater takes great pleasure in making this announcement. To each lady attending this theater each week, will receive absolutely free a fascinating 12-piece kitchen cutlery set, one piece each time. It is really interesting and amazing to know how you can prepare your meals in an appetizing and pleasing manner. There's an old saying, and a true one, that what is pleasing to the eye is bound to be pleasing to the appetite. I'm going to demonstrate this set to you, and I want you to watch it very closely. The first cutter that I'm going to show you, now this first one is known as the Parisian cutter. Wind it through the potato like a corkscrew. When the cutter appears on the opposite side, pull the cutter out. Place the handle in the center and twist it out. This is what they call a French curl. When you fry these, they come out like donuts, nice and brown. Serve them with your steaks or pot roast them. Unwind it, there's 2 curls out of the 1 potato. Tomorrow morning for breakfast, wind a little strip of bacon around the potato and serve them with bacon and eggs. They're delicious. Different colored vegetables, wind them together and you get the 2 colors. Here's a little trick cut. Split the curl halfway through the center. If you're making a shrimp salad and you happen to run short of shrimp, mix these in with the regular shrimp. On my word, you couldn't tell the difference until you start to eat them. Now the rest of the potato, you stuff it. We'll call this a little chicken. We'll call this here some hamburger. You might have a little meat that's been laying in the ice box for a few days. Chop the meat up fine, season it highly, stuff it into the center of the potato and bake them with the skins on. When they're done, cut them in 2. Serve them on the half shell, just like that. Serve them in slices when company calls. The more company you have, the thinner you cut the slices. If your mother-in-law calls, give her a beak piece like that. Now the second tool in the set is known as the garnishing knife. Everything you cut with this must come out fancy. Watch this, please. You cut down, you turn the potato, and then you cut through the edge. First one way, and then the other. Sweet potatoes cut like this. Drop them into a little batter of pancake flour and fry them. When they're golden brown, sprinkle molasses on them. Serve them with strips of bacon for breakfast. Why, they're delicious. Here's beets, you pickle them, and carrots, you steam or cream them. In making the original French fried potato, cut them in thick slices. Put them one on top of each other. Cross-cut the slices, and you'll never eat a French fry any other way. The potatoes cut like this will not absorb the fat because they're garnished around. Pineapples cut for your pineapple and cheese salad, cut them the same way. Here is one, and this is a dandy. Cuts any thickness or any size. Open it for a thick slice, close to the top for a thin slice. Saratoga chips, you can make them for 3 or 4 pennies a pound. Just pull the blade towards you like this. If you want the slices thicker than this, open the blade, there's a thick slice. Shoestrings for your Friday fish dinner, cut them down like this. Chop them up for your vegetable soup. What this knife is really intended for is for cutting the cabbage. You know the old-fashioned board, how you rip and tear, sometimes nipping the ends off your fingers. Lay it flat and pull it lightly towards you over the cabbage. The weight of the knife across the cabbage is all that's necessary. Why, ladies, when you get slaw cut as fine as this, you'll certainly appreciate eating it. The crowning feature of the set is the cutter that I'm going to show you now. This is known as the Champeen vegetable mincing knife and noodle cutter. Now, when you want to make some real fine noodles at home, you roll the dough out like this. Dip this into a little flour so it doesn't stick to the dough, and as you roll it over the dough, that will cut the noodles in long strips, 10 at a time. Did you ever try to chop up a little nuts for cake? Why, I've seen ladies chop nuts and the nuts land up on the ceiling. Sometimes you chop the ends off your fingers when you want to chop up a little nuts for cake. Cooked meat, clams for chowder, soup greens to throw into your soup. Making a little pepper or chicken hash is just a few strokes rolling it up and down. Why, here is without a doubt the meanest thing in the world to cut parsley. Put that in a grinder, you really grind it too fine. This machine, instead of crushing the parsley, cuts it quick, clean, and dry, leaving every bit of the juice and every bit of the flavor. Now, to clean this machine, you press the button. Rinse it out in a little water. When you're through using it, hang it up and let it dry. Here's one here that every lady should have in her home, known as the Parisian scoop. You lay it flat, once to the right, once to the left. When you scoop them out, you'll get a perfect round little ball. You can pot roast these, cut them out of cheese or cut them out of butter. When you're serving a fruit cocktail in the summertime, take your fresh cantaloupe, scoop them out like this, mix them with apples, pears, and watermelons, makes a delicious fruit cocktail served with a little cracked ice like you see here. But here's a tool, ladies, if you ever do get it, you'll thank the day you've seen this demonstration. When you press, it locks. It's like a pair of human hands. Reach in the oven and take the biscuits out of the oven. Ever take the hot potatoes out of the oven and burn yourself on the elbow? A roast chicken out of the oven, a piece of meat out of the pot, spinach, asparagus out of the water. Why, around canning season when you're preserving the fruits, to take the hot fruit jars out of the water like that, that machine is worth dollars to you. And here's another one that I really know you'll enjoy having in your kitchen, known as the safety grater. No doubt you're familiar with the old-fashioned grater. I've seen ladies take a grater and rip the knuckles off. When you want to grate up potatoes for delicious potato pancakes, this has a smooth, flat edge, impossible to cut yourself. Just like you were washing clothes, you rub it up and down, and you really grate your vegetables real fine, retaining all the flavors and all the juices. Breadcrumbs for when you're serving veal cutlets or anything like that. You want a little breadcrumbs to fry your fish in? Why, there's the greatest proposition in the world. Use that for coconut, cheese, or horseradish. When you're through with it, just hit it down like that. That knocks all the food out. Rinse it out in a little water and hang it up and let it dry. Now, here is a stone made of carborundum and sapphire quartz, which is made purposely to keep these knives sharp. When they get dull, a few strokes over the edge like this, and you can put a keen cutting edge on it. If you have a dull knife or a dull pair of scissors, an old sickle or a scythe, a lawnmower, cleaver, an axe, there's a tool that will really put an edge on the knife so the knife will really cut for you. I just want to give you an idea of how sharp that knife really is when you sharpen it with that stone. Ladies, I've seen some of you try to open up cans. Now, there's a can of Campbell's baked beans. I've seen ladies open up a can and you poke a hole in it, go round the top, hippity-hop, and your finger slips. Let me show you a real proposition. Look, lay it on the can, lift up the safety, and turn the key. That locks itself on the can. No harder than you were winding up your watch. Wind up the key and that'll cut the top off of the can slick and smooth.
Hello everyone. Sorry, I'm having issues with my bot at the moment. Hopefully everyone's having a good day today. Give me one more minute here to try and get things set up properly. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. I've had a pretty good start to my day so far. Got some gorgeous peaches earlier. These things are just gorgeous. But unfortunately I don't want to use them right now because they're still rock hard. Rock solid. So you might look for those to show up here on Wednesday. I was planning on, like I said, I was going to do a something with them tonight, but we got enough to do with bacon as it is. Baking. You got some bacon too, but okay, what am I doing here? I need to restore my settings. Let's see if that works. That didn't seem to do much. Come on, mix it up, come on, bot. Sorry, guys. Let's see if we can't get this going right here. I guess I gotta update it now. Let's try that again. Now that I've allowed it through my firewall. Downloading, installing, starting. Come on, mix it up, bot. You can do it. So, other than that, we need to get pork out here. I need to pull out my recipe, or send my recipe over here for the cornbread. Be right back in the kitchen in a moment here. Not. So of course it's going to take me another minute to go back here. Okay. And that lovely little Microsoft ping is me sending stuff to myself here. Okay, so where am I starting with stuff tonight? I think I'm going to start with the pork. Actually, I'm going to start by cleaning my board because that doesn't look very clean to me. Just cleaned half the stuff in this kitchen. How can the board still be dirty? It's a nice sunny day out. Took a little quick trip out to grab some things like the greens and the peaches. And I am going to clean off the board, but still deciding actually how I want to do this pork. Definitely doing a braise. I could have brined it ahead of time, which would have been a little bit more Kentucky style. But I think what we're going to do is just salt it up nice, clean it up a little bit, and sear it off, and then season it up with a bunch of veggies. Make sure it all looks nice. I'm gonna give this a rinse since this has some of the original butchery goods on there. Ooh, those meat juice noises. So I'm going to start with just simple salt all over the whole thing, and then the braise I'm going to add in all the other good stuff. That way we're not going to burn those spices on when I give it that good sear. So we'll start our pan on back here. It's already got a little bit of residual oil going on there. Let's see what we got here for fat that I want to consider. I think I want to leave all of that on there. I've cleaned the top off pretty well. A little bit of chunk over here, but I think they ain't going to kill anyone. I think we're actually pretty good looking right there. We don't need to do much with that piece. So, salt. Turn the fan on here and close my bedroom door so I don't set off the smoke alarms. Start to smell that pan a little bit. Tell me we're getting there. Add a bit of sunflower oil here into the pan. Not sure what oil I got in there. It's probably sunflower, but worried about our heating temp, not our, or rather my smoke temp there, because if it's a lower smoke temp oil, I may be thinking that's a hotter pan than it is. But it does sort of seem like that, like maybe I had some lard in that pan. I think I'm actually going to start with this nice flat face here first. Make sure we get at least one nice little clean looking cut of meat on this whole thing. top's gonna look pretty good. Don't know about the other 4 sides. That won't be bad. I think that was a little bit of a good morning microphone there. Get rid of our storage pan for our meat. All that lovely pork juice. As usual, I've forgotten to turn on the music for you guys. Didn't clean that too well. Got distracted what I was doing. Okay, so shard. I'm gonna keep the stems since we're doing the braise. This is gonna be cooking for quite a while here. Just gonna give ourselves a good fresh cut on the bottom, even though the supermarket probably did that for me. Take our individual leaves, sort of spread the leaves out so the leaves are even. Because they're going to pack them so that the stems are even at the store, probably. And we're keeping the stems, but we're keeping the stems pretty much separate from everything else here. I was going to do mustard greens, but I couldn't find them last minute. Really do prefer mustard greens for braising. Sort of rough. I know some of these are over an inch, but I'm roughly an inch chopped here. Something that once wilted is not going to look to be too ridiculous on a fork. And we need a pot for doing our greens in. I think I want to do this guy over here. I just put away. And we have not using that. I think that's on defrosting because yeah, that'll be good for this tip. So quick defrosting myself some bacon here because I had some scrap bacon in the fridge, but it was up there and it was too up there. So that's gonna end up going in the trash here when closer to Tuesday. Until then, I'll leave it in the fridge where it's not making everything smelly. We're going to need some onion for what's this. And starting to get low on onion again. Man, I go through onions like I should start buying. I want to buy like sacks of onions, but I'm not going to go through them quick enough, even though I go through them too quick enough to buy like individual ones from the store. Sort of stuck in that medium zone. Got to move that meat again soon. Keep trying to forget it. Got a smoky house today. That almost looks a little inappropriate there. Can't really see it well looking down on it. final flip here. See that little like finger of pork just like poking out. Oops on me there. That last piece was a little thick. Now we got our pork nicely seared. Gonna set that off to the side here, let that rest for a moment. Cut the heat on that loveliness. I throw in half of this onion in for with the pork. Remember, that pan's completely off right now. Oh, I didn't buy more mustard. Do I have enough mustard for tonight's sauce? Let's hope so. I'm not there yet. And other half of this onion's gonna go in with the greens. Get that pan going over here. It's going to need a little longer. I want to use that pan though. Pan on low again here, just above a boil as far as temp. Just keep those onions going. My eyes are going from the smoke in here. I don't know if you guys can see if it's smoke here. It doesn't look like it's smoky on the screen to me, but it's smoky in here. Gonna get this pork shoulder going and the braised greens going, and then I'll start worrying about the cornbread. Might as well spice up our pork while we're waiting on other stuff here. Got our flame going here. We'll add some oil to this pan. Get our onions going over here as well. Okay, spices for pork tonight. Much like last night, we're just doing it slightly different cooking method here. I'm going to use a bunch of white pepper rather than having to ground black pepper. That has water in it. Little MSG. Cayenne. New Mexico chili. Paprika. Chili ancho. What am I missing to throw in here? I wish I had some yellow mustard powder. I don't have any yellow mustard powder. I'm not going to do the onion and garlic powder again. The onion and garlic powder are just, I mean, they're... So we'll skip those for tonight. Add a bit more black pepper, some more salt, some sugar. A little garlic honey. This looks like about the right amount of stock right here. Got our collard greens in here with our onions. This is pork stock that I ended up throwing in this glass container because the plastic bag was broke, so it was spilling all over the place. Just sort of a last minute decision there. So we got that starting to braise. We got our start for our braise for our pork, and I'm gonna put the pork in there now. Back in with this loveliness here, just to steam and slowly cook with that lovely juice. And pork, since the bacon isn't defrosted, I'm going to sear that up separately and then add it back in with the greens once it's defrosted here, which we're getting close, but I was pretty late in the game with that one. So the greens, other than the pork stock that we got in there and the bacon that we're going to add in there, we're going to do a bunch of hot sauce, or Frank's in this case. A bunch of hot sauce. And a splash of apple cider vinegar. Because everything's better with vinegar here in the South, apparently. Pretty small bunch of greens there. Gonna be perfect just for me, apparently, here. Actually, it is just about perfect because I don't really want that much more greens. So we have our second of two Pinot Noirs here of the week. This one I'm hoping to be a bit better of a bottle. The other one I had hopes for, but didn't really have a feeling for sure. I didn't know. Being from Healdsburg, being pricey. Healdsburg, I think of Beverly Hills of Sonoma County. Yeah, that one wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. This one with the name attached, I sort of have expectations of grandeur rather than just, oh, it could be from a good place. And as usual with Copolas, it's cork, but it's, I think it's like super fine cork that's been glued together. Like really, really, really fine cork. I don't think that's originally the same piece of cork going on there. Particle cork. I'm already liking the color of this one a little bit more. This one's got a bit more brown to it. I mean, it's red, but it's got that. There we go. Yeah, that's not actually that bad once I pull it right up to the camera. Definitely drinkable as far as color. Ooh. Got some young alcohol smells going on here. Even though it's 2017. Clean, bright. That's just shouting to be put next to a grill and some burgers or some hot dogs or some summer simple grilling there. That's a good summertime wine right there. At least as I remember summertime grilling. Sort of tempted to cover that. These guys are just gonna cook and cook and cook. We're gonna cook them until you think they're well beyond cooked, and gonna cook them some more. These are not your bright greens. These are gonna be your army cooked greens. But at the same time, they're gonna have flavor. Since we're hanging out here, I'm getting that stuff started and this bacon. I think I'm gonna make the barbecue sauce first and then worry about the cornbread. The cornbread's, I think it's just gonna be a quick bread recipe here, so it should be relatively quick and easy. Let me double read over this real quick. Yep, flour and egg, baking powder. It's like a cake with corn in it. On the other hand, I need that other recipe. Let's see if I can pull that up from here. Nope. Now that sounds like a barbecue sauce. That isn't the one that I was looking for, but that looks... I don't have the ingredients for this either, but cup of water, half cup of beef broth, quarter cup of bourbon, ketchup, chili sauce, Worcestershire, cayenne. Is there any mustard in that bad boy? Oh, that looks dark. Oh, you got this, yeah. The rest of that recipe I'm not as big of a fan of. Evening, Stricknon. How are you this night? I am doing quite good. Sort of having a chill night tonight. Not really rushing into anything. Not that I never rush. I don't know why I say that. What you cooking? Nice. Burgers and dirty rice sound good. Summer squash definitely in season. Make sure everything's going okay over here. This needs to be turned down a little bit. We want this rolling, but not rolling that hot. Bacon still isn't defrosting. That ain't what I'm looking for either. Nice. Yeah, I ended up with some nice looking collards there, but I was actually hoping for some mustard. I really much prefer mustard as a braising green. And the squirrels are just digging all over the place in my yard. So we're doing yellow mustard sauce here. Pear whiskey jam, that sounds yummy, yummy. If I wasn't in California, I'd probably agree with it. Let's see here. And pickled garlic. I should do some pickled garlic. Pickled garlic sounds like a good time. So we're seeing how much mustard I got left here. I have a feeling I don't have the half cup that I'm hoping for. Considering this jar only contained a cup to begin with. My bad. Sorry for the sound. Oh, that was just me and my mustard. They're all horribly inaccurate anyways. Sort of tempted to mix this in the bottle. Add some more water in with our pork here. It's getting a little starved of moisture. Back here bubbling. Looks gorgeous as far as the sauce right now, but we need that to cook for another hour or two. So. Come on, bacon, defrost. Cider vinegar. Calling for honey. I'm going to add a bunch of garlic honey. I'll add a little real honey too, though. Little bit of ketchup, not much. This is not a tomato sauce. We have soy in there? No, we don't. That's surprising to me. We have Worcestershire in there? Yes, we have Worcestershire in there. Worcestershire? Worcestershire. Ooh. use sugar in the raw instead of brown sugar. How much sugar is in there? And mix. Yeah, so now we have our mustard barbecue sauce all ready to go. Okay, that's looking good and yummy. That's looking okay. How's our bacon looking? Bacon still defrosting. Wine, pretty yummy. So I guess let's make some cornbread. See how big of a thing this is. Nine-inch, nice. So I'm gonna cheat and use this guy. So we need cornmeal, we need AP flour. Let's get to start. That's roughly a cup. I hear something bubbling behind me that I gotta deal with. It's bubbling too fast. What's bubbling behind me too fast? It's probably those greens. Oh no. Okay, we can turn that down a little bit. No, it's the pork, but I'm mildly okay with the pork boiling. It's got to cook for a while. sugar. Good old plain white sugar. Greens ain't bubbling at all. Baking powder. Ooh, lots of baking powder. Salt. Doesn't sound like a bad idea, but I don't have it right now. I have frozen corn that I could throw in there, but no, not normally. I sort of like my cornbread to be from cornmeal. You get that little grit going, you know you're chewing on something. It's really what it originally was, because like many foods, it was, you know, cheap, poor labor food. Here in the U.S., it would be considered slave food. So that's our dry ingredients. Wet and dry, we're gonna combine separately. Egg. Milk, 400-degree oven on. Alright, I'm gonna let that chill just as is right there before I put it in the pan. Wait for that oven to preheat. Still not defrosted. But we got our barbecue sauces. See if we got that mixed up nicely or if that stayed. Oh, that mixed up nicely. Just do that on a spoon real quick. I'll show you guys what that looks like here. Minus the old hardened mustard on the cap. So, looks a little bit like thin mustard, but I assure you that's some yummy sauce right there. Maybe a slight bit more sugar in there, but yummy. Cleaned all my towels, so all my dirty towels aren't available for me to hold pans now. Gonna move this guy to the back burner. Keep him going. And last pan I got, cast iron. I still have cast iron actually. Warm him up and we'll get going with this bacon regardless if it's frozen or not. Well, if you look at that, the recipe that I did there, I mean, it's roughly 1/4 yellow mustard, which that's what that type of recipe is. Thank you for that subscription, Entropy. Appreciate that. Welcome. Enjoy those emotes and ad-free viewing. So you have, they're selling their scrap bacon here. So this is already pre-cut ends and bits and scraps. It's perfect. They're usually, you can find it at your supermarket has it. It's usually a pretty good deal when it comes to bacon because while you may get odd cuts, you may get thick cuts that you may want to cut up a little bit. It's generally a much better price and it's same stuff. I think that's probably enough bacon here for our greens. I got more here than I need. Yeah, it's the ends and pieces, so usually there's only a couple of them because they have to go through a number of bellies before they have ends and pieces from a bunch of them.
But, you know, so obviously it means your supermarket has to be, or wherever you're buying your bacon has to be cutting bacon, so. But, I got that from local, like, family supermarket. I call it family. They have 3 or 4 locations. They're big operations, but they're are essentially the equivalent of our family local supermarkets here. I can find it there, and one of our major butchers in the area often has it available too. I'm looking at my plant over here, and it's just looking sad, so I'm feeling the need to water it a little bit here and make sure it's okay with life. I use my coffee pitcher for all sorts of things. And actually, this is a pretty good, clean batch of it. Normally, it's like the ends. It's normally like chunks and stuff. Bacon's cooking too slow. I'm turning up the heat there. It's losing too much moisture and not sizzling enough. Boiling, not frying. How's our oven doing? Still waiting on our oven to preheat. Come on, turn off sprayer. Clean my the nozzle out on my sprayer and the faucet out here like maybe 2 months ago. Like getting all the buildup and stuff out of them, that sort of a thing. And ever since I've been having issues with the little gun in the faucet fighting for pressure to see who's keeps running, and so my spray hose keeps getting locked on. Oven beat for my oven being up to temp here, so let's butter our pan. Not because the recipe calls for it, but just because it'll be better that way. And because I live alone and have anyone to complain to me, I'm putting that right back in the fridge as it is. And nearly fall on my ass doing so. Oh really, Singing Bear? Would you happen to know where I could find some of those? I do happen to have a yellow mustard barbecue sauce that I already whipped up here, and I put into my old mustard container here. So we're going yellow mustard barbecue tonight. Friday was dry rub and thickened molasses style. Now we're doing braised with a mustard. Oh really? I thought I had sort of saw a photo of some sort on Games and Tunes Discord earlier today. So, gonna take our cornbread, throw that in the oven here. Get the oven at 400. See what time period we want here. Probably 25 minutes is my guess. 25 minutes, wow! It's almost like I had read that recipe before. I don't know if I should be impressed or... I mean, this wine is, like, perfect outside barbecue, burgers, and hot dogs wine.
It's got a ton of residual sugar. I don't know if that shows up on camera or not, but there's all sorts of sugar in the bottom of my glass too. But it's a really nice balanced wine that would go well with food. It's probably just about what I should have expected from this. And I still have hot sauce from... When did I make that hot sauce? I think I made it in 2010. 2015, okay. Let's see, this is a combination of habanero, serrano, Anaheim, poblano, and bell pepper. And it is black. But I have about 10 other jars of this still. I made a lot of it. Sort of tempted to open this up. I haven't opened one of these up in quite a long time. Okay, I'm going to call that bacon good enough. Going to try and pull that without all the fat there and add that in with our collards. So the only thing we got left here with these collards here is add a little sugar in there to balance out all the acidity in there. And I'll do that towards the end here. But let's see here. Looks relatively brown. Like I said, I haven't tried this and it's got heat. It's got some nice heat to it. It's got some nice flavor to it too. I'm gonna have to keep that around. Hey, what do you know? It's still good 5 years later. It ate through the top of the seal though, after I went to try and clean it.
This thing's seared up really nicely. I mean, it's holding its shape just like perfect. Even though it's pretty well. Let's see what our temp is at. We're up to about 110, 115 there. Do you have a lot? Have you been doing hot sauces for a long time, Stinging Bear? Seems like you have some experience doing peppers. You've been talking about them quite a bit. I'm still hoping that I'm going to have any peppers at all out of my garden. The Japanese heirloom long beans that I'm growing are long bean peppers, or they look like they're long beans, just long, like strictly beans, but they're peppers. It's an heirloom breed. They seem to be struggling along. They seem to be making it, but they aren't liking things. The orange pepper is nowhere to be seen. The orange sweet pepper that I'm growing. And I've got one tomato growing in with the peppers just randomly. Tomatoes seem to be doing okay, but struggling at the same time. Same sort of thing as with the peppers. I don't think things are really liking the compost that I got this year. Even though the compost is looking great, but... Got my neighbors wanting to buy new compost too. If you're joining in later on here, as I was saying earlier on, bought these peaches earlier this morning. With COVID, you can't exactly inspect everything all the time. And so my options here were to buy things on site and look at them. And those are some gorgeous looking peaches. They're still hard as a rock right now. And so I was tentatively hoping to do something with some peaches here with dinner tonight, and that sort of got nixed once I got a hold of those and realized that they're going to need a couple of days to loosen up. So, little foreshadowing, there's probably going to be some peaches involved here on Wednesday. Sort of thinking like I don't know what I'm gonna do for sure now. What I've got stuck in my head right now is doing a caramel upside down cake with the peaches. But if anyone's got any other ideas of things that I should try, I mean, I just did a tart the other day, and I just did the crumble. So. But I couldn't pass up peaches in peach season, even if they're rock hard still. Thank you, Pio. Welcome back. Ah, that didn't show up right. I wasn't looking at my, I've been working on my alerts. Maybe some of you caught my stream yesterday. The name didn't show up quite right there. I'm sorry about that, Pio.
But how are you today? How are you doing? What is new in TV then? I'm gonna give this a 180 here so that sorry for screech. So that we get. Seems like it's all boiling, which this is always my hot side on this burner. So this way, maybe this side will get a bit more heat. Is that a Pew Hype emote? Nice. Speaking of that, Talk to Voice should be activated for just about everything now too, as far as alerts. So feel free to type in there and I'm doing pretty good. I wishing these peaches were a little riper, so I had something else to work with here. But we got cornbread in the oven. We got the other piece of pork butt here braising, looking lovely and jiggly. And we got braised chard just sort of slowly chilling here with a little pork stock, a little apple cider vinegar, some bacon, and I'm gonna add some brown sugar to finish that. Oof. That's rough. That's like 30 degrees. That's roughly like, what, 90 Fahrenheit? Yeah, it's been so hot here too. Thank you. I'm drinking this lovely Pinot. I'm on the edge of this one. This one's a pretty good Pinot. I'm enjoying this one. I don't know that it's a great one to go here with the barbecue. This would be great with like a home, like burgers and hot dogs. I'm like craving my mom's outdoor barbecue with this. Ooh. Yeah, it started being a little bit warmer in my house too because I don't have a proper cooler. I have a heater. Northern California, we don't have to worry about heat too much. We get maybe a couple of weeks here where it's 80-ish, 90-ish out of the year, or 30-ish. Since I added that second freezer in here, just the fact that I have both a freezer and refrigerator there and another chest freezer here. They're both kicking off heat all the time. As it is, this house is pretty well insulated. So, what actually happens with my house is it'll bake all day, and then when it starts cooling off outside, it'll still be an oven in here. And so, like, right about now, I should start, like, cracking windows around the house. Because otherwise it's just going to continue to it's a solid concrete floor place with lots of shade, but it still gets enough sun that it heats up. Really like it though, but it's not that I make it sound worse than it is. But yeah, I could go for that. I mean, what we traditionally have, it's not what we're having this year, and it seems to be getting hotter ever since I've lived here. But San Francisco this is still considered San Francisco Bay Area, even though I'm like an hour and a half, 2 hours north. It's all considered to be, like bay temperature. It's all supposed to be like 70s,
maybe 80. And this summer it's been 90, 90, 90, 90. It keeps fluctuating up and down, but the heat here isn't the worst part of I mean, it's normally a gorgeous 70 degrees, but what's been the real issue the last 3-4 years is the smoke. And for the unfortunate percentage of the forest fires, but for me it's been the smoke. We've had 2 years where Sonoma County had forest fires that essentially smoked me out for 2-3 days, or sorry, 2-3 weeks. And one of those years, so 2 years from Sonoma, and 1 year we had a forest fire in Napa that smoked us out for a week or two. It's in my truck right now, but it's why I have an actual respirator. I already owned a respirator. But I had it so that I could go outside in the smoke, not because I was worried about some superbug. We normally have a little bit of humidity, but it's not high humidity. I mean, we're close to the ocean, and so we get a lot of moisture in our air, but it's not like high heat. I think of humidity, and I think of like East Texas or muggy Michigan in summer. We have humidity here, but it's not something that's really hugely affecting the feel of the temperature here. If anything, it's making it feel cooler. There's nothing to be sorry about. I have a pretty comfortable life. I have nothing that I should be complaining about. I mean, you can always find things to complain about. I'm great at finding things to complain about. I went and changed things so you could see more what was going on, and then went back and left you with an empty screen. Now, see, I would consider 30 uncomfortable. I don't like hot weather. Not 100% sure what it works out to, but give me, like 72 year round, everywhere. I'm getting there myself. Not nearly as hungry as I was yesterday. I was starving all day yesterday. And all day on Friday, too, when I was streaming, too. Today, I'm sort of like, meh. Got another 4.5 minutes here on our cornbread. That was a pretty good Formula One race this morning, though. Your boy won. I wasn't nearly as happy with that race. I thought that could have been a much more interesting. Oh. Mercedes royally screwed up that race. But, a number of people screwed up that race. But, Racing Point seemed to do okay. McLaren could have done better than I think they did. Yeah, Max just stole the show. I don't know what was going on with Mercedes. They both screwed over Bottas, which Bottas should have had the primary setup because he was the race leader. Who do I prefer winning? Well, right now I'm mostly rooting for Bottas, but that's mostly because, I mean, he's really the only competition for Lewis. I don't think of Max as legitimate competition for Lewis. And even, I mean, before this race, I think Lewis had 30 points on Bottas. Yeah, no. They do tend to, welcome, Garguy. They do tend to do that when it's in a racing situation, like the whole, you know, yeah, hey Valtteri, it's James. But generally they do give the better racing scenario to the better racer. It's all down in the cards there, car guy. I know I'm breaking down a chicken and doing 2 chicken dishes next week. I'm forgetting what all I'm doing. I think I'm doing stuffed peppers. I think I'm doing some other chicken dish, and you're putting me on the spot here with my horrible memory. It's right there in the cards from my page, which I'm looking up now myself, just to remind myself. Yeah, stuffed peppers with chicken. Gonna do chicken parm. And gonna salt cure some egg yolks for later in the week. Hopefully those will be done for the 16th, because the lamb shank, I want to use them as a garnish. But ultimately they're probably going to go into salads. I'm planning on, I don't have a plan for the next week after that, but I'm thinking I could do some salads on top of that. Doing pasta 2 of those nights, but I'm doing types of pasta that I haven't tried before. I think it's one of the wine magazines keeps pushing an advertisement with pasta done with red wine. And so I bought another $3 bottle of Whole Foods red wine. And so we'll do some Whole Foods. I don't know if I'm not even showing my board right now. We'll do some cheap Cab Sav pasta. We'll basically just use this for infusing the pasta. And on Wednesday, I'm going to do a spinach-based pasta. So, flavored pastas is really the theme of next week, I guess. That and chicken. Let's take a look at our cornbread. That is looking nice. It's got some good color. I don't know if that's really there though. I'm gonna give that a little bit longer in the oven. I'm gonna reduce the temperature down to 350. And I'm gonna give it 5 minutes. Top of that looks gorgeous. I didn't want to give it much more color. I'd love to be able to just take that out right now. It just felt too soft and it wasn't bouncing back for me, so it just gave me the impression the center hadn't solidified. Otherwise, that's picture perfect right now. see how our pork's doing on temp. Now that we turned you around. Okay, I think I'm going to put a cover on the pork just because I want to get an extra 10 degrees or so a little bit quicker while that's still cooking. And to me, the best way to cook is with dirty hands. It just makes life so much easier. In fact, I don't think you should ever wash your hands ever again. It's just a waste of time, waste of water, horrible for the environment. For those of you joining us now, I do have these gorgeous peaches here in front of me here. I was planning on using these tonight, and I bought them on looks alone rather than touching them, but once I got my hands on them, I realized they're rock solid, and so probably peaches on Wednesday here. I'm liking the way these greens are looking. I'm liking the way the pork looks, but it needs a little bit more temp. Definitely going for the army green collards tonight. I'm not a fan of those. Spinach, yeah, give me some nice, bright, colorful spinach. With braised greens, I want my greens braised. I want them cooked, and I want them with tons of flavor from all sorts of other things. And speaking of that, I think now is a good time to maybe add that sugar in there. Let's see what we got for flavor. Give this a quick tasty taste. Oh, yum, yum, yum. I don't know if that needs much sugar at all. I'm gonna add a little bit, but that's not. I'm a big fan of spinach too. Spinach was really the first, like, braising green or sauteing green or green that I actually liked. I don't do coconut. I'm relatively certain that I'm allergic to it or have some sort of negative reaction to it. So it's not necessarily I don't like it; it's my body doesn't like it. I don't even use. I check all my shampoos and my body stuff too for coconut oils because I love throwing coconut in that stuff too. And so none of my stuff in the bathroom has coconut either. Let's see, what else do I don't like? I don't do a ton of seafood or fish. It's not that I don't like it, it's just not my... I just don't end up going to the seafood section. There are other things that I'm not remembering off the top of my head that I don't like here, too. But I don't have very many. There are not many foods that I don't like. I mean, isn't that obvious? Okay, that's feeling a lot better now. Now, see, I love cheese. I'm not so sure my body likes it anymore. But, I love me some cheese. I love me some dairy. That's a gorgeous looking pan of cornbread there. Got a nice golden brown edge going. It pushes back. Why do you refuse to eat Jell-O? Just out of curiosity. Is it a texture thing, or is it... Because I think of Jell-O, and I'm sitting here thinking of these guys that I got in the fridge. Where are you? They're in the back. They're far in the back. So far back there. These guys, I'm thinking of that. Some meat Jell-O. Yeah, a lot of people have the whole, it comes from connective tissue, which comes from an animal, and reducing our animal intake is probably a good thing, but I'm not going to do it. Sorry. But then again, like I said, I was saying this in the last cooking stream I did. I respect the whole vegetarian food things like they're trying to do. I don't necessarily love the ones that are out there right now. But there's certainly a decent population, a percentage of the population that is not going to be able to afford meat from a pastured farm within your county like I've got going on here. It's something that for the generic everyone, yeah, we're going to have crickets, we're going to have all sorts of alternative proteins. Some ways we already do. But like at the same time, I'm not a fan of this commercially produced team, where they're essentially creating. They call them bioreactors, but it's essentially this self-feeding cycle that's recreating bacteria to create this blood-like alternative from, I believe it's from soy, either corn or soy, but I think it's from soy. Oh yeah, crickets are going to be a major protein food source in the future, especially in Asia. But they're going to be probably one of the things that are ground up and put into things. That's good, Strychnine. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's right where I am, too. I mean, I'm not huge into hunting myself. More, I respect that it's something you're going to have to learn and take time to learn and You have to buy stuff to do it. I don't want to make the investment in time and money. But I would like to much more support local hunters, local butchers. We need to move away, especially here in the U.S. I know I've got an international audience right now, but in the U.S., we need to move away from industrialized meat. We need to stop feeding this fast food industry that's yeah, it's expensive, both in its production and to the end user. It's a matter of how you look at the cost, though, too. I mean, it's like the battle over education in the world. We're going a little too political here, but you educate people, they make more money, but it costs more money to educate more people. Same thing with the meat. You're going to have better health and better life and a better product and eat better if you're buying locally well cared for, well tendered meat. But not everyone's going to be ever able to afford that. I'm not quite done there, Hayek. Welcome. We're just wrapped. We're getting close here, though. We got some braised collards that are just sort of chilling here with some bacon, pork stock, and little loveliness going on there. A little red onion, some seasoning. We have the pork, which is probably getting close here. Let's give this a new temp up here. Our braised pork here, which is looking all sorts of lovely now. I'm going to add more water to the pan, and I am going to keep going with that because we're still not there. I need to give that a cover and let that go a little bit longer. We need at least another 10 degrees here. I don't really want to go lower than 135 internal. We're hovering around 120, probably 130 if we sit there and let it set another 5-10 minutes, but let's cook it another 5 minutes here to be sure about it. My neighbors have chicken. I have chickens being raised on both sides of me here. They're raising them for eggs, but really, strychnine. I would be all about that. Where are you from? Are you here in the U.S.? A lot of butchers here in the U.S. actually. The thing here in the U.S. is we actually ship our chicken feet to China. Or to China. To the China, yeah. At least, because they'll pay upwards, or I don't know about current situations with trade. I know the U.S. and China are all up in trade war and all that, but a couple of years ago, China used to pay upwards of $5 a pound for chicken feet. They love chicken feet. They like chicken feet like we like buffalo wings. I mean, they use them in soups. They sit there and just gnaw on them. They also do one of the things that really shocked me when I visited Chengdu was in the Asian markets they were selling dried deer legs. And if you look at the dried deer leg, I mean, it's like a single strand of meat going up a long leg. I mean, there's like nothing there. They love them. Or at least that was my experience. But I used to make chicken stock all the time for my business. I used to sell stock as a part of my business, working out of the farmers markets. And I used to buy chicken feet. And chicken feet are great for stock. They give you tons of flavor. They give you tons of gelatin. Well, Pew, it's more of a matter of numbers. I mean, China itself, not including India, has got what 4 or 5 times as many people in the U.S. They just have so many people, and I mean, a good portion of them are living in undeveloped farmland territory. I mean. Yeah, a fair percentage of the poor are in Africa, but that figure of what is it, like half of people on the earth have never had a toilet in their life? That's Asia and Africa. Well, yeah, there's all sorts of, but at the same time, people here in the U.S. are pretty nasty too. I mean, you have people in the U.S. that eat muskrat and raccoons and other rodents and stuff like that. I mean, it's not just a Asian thing. People eat weird shit all over the place. Welcome, McGlenn. Yeah, possum. All sorts of rodents. They'll. I'm pretty sure I saw a sign when I was in Detroit at the their what is it, Eastern Market, where their farmers market is. I'm pretty sure they had raccoons for sale there. Nice. I used to use it used to be a radio commercial, like in the late 90s, I want to say. You had, what was it, Bud Light? You had, here's to you, Mr. Such and Such, and one of them was Mr. Pickled's Pig's Feet Eater. And so my gaming tag in the late 90s was Mr. Pickled's Pig's Feet Eater. Yes, real men of genius. That was a brilliant ad campaign. I've had options for a lot more meats than I've actually taken, but
a lot of the times you get into a lot of this weirder stuff, like, trying to remember the it's a well-known, like, independent single supermarket. I want to say in, like, Ohio. But thank you for the lurk, dude. That they had just, like, a laundry list of dried meats, and I was like, I don't want to do dried meats. I want to try the actual meat. You know, like, so many of these things are, like, they'll package them up so they could sell them worldwide, sort of a thing. And so, like, I'd like to try some of these things. Like, I'd like to try ostrich. Ostrich meat, not eggs. And let's see, what else on your list there? Pigeon's not bad. Frog's feet aren't bad. But there's other things, other meats that I haven't had that I'd like to try. That I want to try the real thing. Wow, my nose is now all stuffed up for some reason. Okay, I'm not enjoying this song. I don't think that song sounds very chill to you guys. It's been a while since I've had head cheese. I actually want to try and do head cheese one of these days. I just thought when I bought the pig here, doing the head and the organs would be, even though it's stuff I want to do, it would be just too much for me to undertake all at once. Let's see if you fall out. Nope, you won't fall out for me. You're stuck. I even buttered that nicely, though. Yeah, essentially the same thing. McGlenn. I think I used it. I used to have a pigeon in my freezer. No, don't have one. There we go. Nice cooked bottom on that, buddy. I get quail every once in a blue moon when I have one of the local meat guys I know from working the farmers markets, and he occasionally gives me a deal on it because it's one of his lesser sold things. But where they do, oh yeah, the divots on either side. So I've had quail a couple of times, but yeah, guinea pigs. I did rabbit on Easter, but I don't do rabbit a lot. I have flashbacks to old political movies with rabbits. Uh-oh, finishing our wine. For those joining me, I am drinking sort of the mid-range Coppola Pinot Noir from the supermarket. Not a fan of his. I didn't really mention this last time I brought this up, but he has sort of like this diamond line. I think it's his lower price line at supermarkets, but just about everything I've tried from his diamond line I have not liked.
I like his wines overall, but just that one series just seems like nothing on it's worth your time. Guinea pigs for me, that's one I haven't tried. That'd be interesting. When we stayed at it was a hotel, but it was a hotel really for foreigners. When I was in China in Chengdu, I went to Chengdu in Beijing. In Chengdu, we spent a week at their. I went there for a certificate course at their Institute of Higher Cuisine, I think it was. Their top culinary school. And in the hotel we were staying, we were all a bunch of culinary students. They had a bunch of cats in the center of the hotel. And so we sat there and named them all, stew, fry. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, another pasture animal. They're gonna probably have the same diet as a chicken, which you know what chickens eat. Let's see where our pork's at. This looks like it's boiling pretty good here. Okay. I am now happy with that temp on the pork. So I'm going to cut the heat on that and let that sit another 5 minutes here. Give me time to cut our cornbread. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna take a sec. I'm gonna go grab some allergy medicine. My nose is driving me nuts. Okay. I need more water. It's sort of weird how my allergies have been sort of crazy this summer. It's been a while. I've been sort of wondering if it's the whole staying around home and cleaning home a whole lot more that's getting to me. But let's cut this cornbread. Second photo here. Give ourselves a shot of the crumb. Alright. So that's looking nice and lovely. Well cooked through. I was a little worried about the center of that, but that looks like that was well cooked. Happy with that. I'll leave that together to stay warm for the moment. Sauce in the pan we're pretty much gonna ditch, even though that looks gorgeous. It was just flavoring for our weirdly shaped piece of meat. I don't know why that little piece of pork is sticking out there. It's a little piece saying hello to you guys. That sounds like fun. I probably, 50 gallon, that's gotta be one heck of a pot. 50 gallon, that's gotta be like 5 pork heads, if not more. If not like 10 or 15. Oh hey, I have a package that was delivered. Let's see if it's on my doorstep. No. Okay, guys. I'm gonna go make sure that no one steals my paper towels. So I'm gonna run and grab those, and I will be right back. I'm sure you guys know how waiting, making sure you get deliveries. Oh yeah. I should have checked it before the stream started. So, I'll be back here in a minute. I just gotta run around the house here. I'm back. The great hunter has arrived back home with paper towels. That is one large pot. Brunswick stews. That's very familiar to me. What's... Refresh my memory. My very horrible memory. Chicken, pork, and turkey with tomatoes, beans, corn, tomatoes, potatoes, carrots. Sounds like a stew. Chicken and pork with turkey, huh? Guess I'm not familiar with that one. I'm familiar with Brunswick bowling. It's not it's rare that cultures mix meats in a dish, but it's not unheard of. And it's like I was saying earlier, it's most meat and most foods and stuff are designed out of poverty. And so when you're designing something to be cheap, it doesn't have a whole bunch of meat. That doesn't surprise me. I sort of think most good food comes from there too. That's looking a little rare at the top there. Let's give that a temp. We're still pushing 125 at our lowest, which is a little lower than, that's rare, but follow your local food regulations. 145 here in the US. You're not seeing that. Just a little juice, huh? That makes sense too, Strychnine. If I'm pronouncing that right. Like strychnine, but strychnine. But I'm okay with that. That looks like that's... I'm good with that. I'm happy with that for the meat. Okay, so let's clean up our cutting board. I mean, it's hot as it's dripping. So we'll do bacon and greens on the bottom here. Some of this lovely pork over the top. Not going to be hugely artistic here tonight. I haven't been doing the artsy-fartsy plates here for a couple of weeks now. But I haven't a good artsy-fartsy plate in a couple of weeks, rather. Let's see. This should really make things beautiful here. Actually, I'm sort of tempted to chop up some chives to add some green to this, but okay, Photoshop time, photo time. It doesn't look half bad. That turned out looking pretty good. Cool. Let's see who we got to spread some love with here tonight. We got anyone still breathing in there, in here? Why don't we go enjoy movie night with Mr. Carrington?
like to thank everyone for joining me tonight. Thank you. I'm going to go and enjoy this lovely looking food. I'm very happy with the way that meat turned out. Very happy with the way the greens turned out. We'll see about that mustard sauce. Like the wine, and the cornbread's looking pretty tasty here too. So, gonna go rate Mr. Carrington now, book reader, and he's gonna be showing a black and white sci-fi movie here for Sunday night movie night. I hope you guys all enjoy and have a great evening. Thank you for joining me. I will be back on Wednesday.